We're back at it here. Wake Up Wenatchee Valley has safely arrived on the airwaves on this Thursday, the 21st day of February, 2019. I'm Dan Kuntz, your host. Thanks for starting your day with us here on the NCW Life Channel jam-packed show to get you Thursday up and running. Weather forecast, this cold temperatures that we've been dealing with all month long is going to continue. A couple of light snowflakes could be coming in, but in and out. We have a certain chance of that. No real big snow accumulations coming up, but it is going to still remain well below normal for our temperatures. We've gone through a long stretch of cold weather the entire month of February. We haven't even gotten close to our afternoon. Our afternoon highs have not been close to normal for, 20 days in a row now. We're going to make it close to 21, 22. We could go the entire month of February without ever once getting our normal high temperature at our normal high temperatures from below the whole month of February. You've got the forecast coming up. Past report, news, sports, today in history, birthdays. Everyone is entitled to Mike McNally's opinion. We also have kennel cameos, of course, because it's Thursday. Our own Megan McPherson visited our friends at the Wenatchee Valley Humane Society earlier in the week, and we'll be profiling Leo the dog. Let's get Leo home. He's a cute little dog. You'll like Leo. Cool. That's all coming up. And in the second half of the program, they came down yesterday morning to tape the interview segment of this program. I'm talking about Mike Cooney, who is, of course, the mayor of Chelan, and Tim Hollingsworth, who is a Chelan City Council member. And Tim is also the president of the Chelan Valley Housing Trust. They're trying to make housing affordable in the Chelan Valley. It's been a difficult time for folks who try to make just an honest, everyday middle-class living to find affordable housing in Chelan. It's becoming a crisis almost up there, but they've decided to be proactive in Chelan and tackle this issue before it gets out of hand. It's a great conversation. You don't want to miss that. That's in the second half of the program. Quite a bit of sunshine, beautiful full moon. Let's take you around the valley with our Valley View cameras, courtesy of Localtel Sky-Fi high-speed wireless network. And there is the cross cam beginning our festivities. What's that little red thing down there at the bottom and that little bump is sticking out? I wonder what that is. Interesting. Anyway, good morning. Wenatchee Valley continue to be covered in snow. And boy, if you love snow and you love the backcountry, you got to be careful. Our lead story this morning is three guys got stuck for 2 days in remote Douglas County in their truck. They're happy to be alive today. That's our lead news story. You got to be careful out there. You just can't go out and not tell anybody where you're going and get into all kinds of different situations. Difficult situations, I should say. Good morning, Wenatchee. Good morning, East Wenatchee. That's the one camera I know we do. From now on, Megan, who is in control, gets to decide where we visit next. And we are going to go see Billy Goat. Good golly, that's a gorgeous view. That's pulled back about as far as we can pull it back. We can move these cameras. We can go up and down and round and go fight, team, win. Alta Lake Golf Course is at the bottom of your screen. You can see the mighty Columbia. You can see Pateris. You can see Brewster. If we turn the camera to the left, normally you would be able to see the Methow Valley, climbing up towards Twisp and Methow and all the way up to Winthrop, but you can't because that's where the tower is. These are on towers and they have guy wires and support mechanisms and things like that, and unfortunately, if we turn the camera to the left, you would normally be able to see the Methow Valley, but you can't because there's a big tower in the way. That's just the way things go. Camera 3, where are we going, Megan? We're going to see... that is the Apple Andes camera located above the Apple Andes Mall there in Cashmere, looking down on beautiful Cashmere, Washington. You can see the Riverside Center on the right-hand side of your screen and the park along the river. Beautiful Cashmere on this Thursday morning. And finally, camera 4 is a slow dissolve to Hose Landing. I don't know. What are we looking at, Megan? Oh, I got the thumbs up. It is Hose Landing. Wow. Cool. I went 4 for 4 today. I didn't yesterday. I was 1 for 4 yesterday, which made me a 250 hitter, but now I can make major leagues. I batted 1,000 this morning. Good morning to our friends in Hose Landing. By the way, of course, Hose Landing named after our 17th Vice President, Ho Landing. So there you go. Let's take a look at that weather forecast. As we mentioned before, this chilly weather is going to continue. We're going to see some spittles of snow, but basically there is some storm systems out there, but they're kind of plodding along and taking their time, and they're kind of losing a little bit of steam. So it's going to be kind of quiet today. Quite a bit of sunshine. No problems at all. About 33 for our afternoon highs. Clouds thicken up tonight. Overnight low of about 18. Could get some light snow, spittles of snow. Nothing more than a half an inch, maybe, if we get any at all on Friday. High of about 30 Friday night. 30% chance of snow. No accumulations really expected. 19 for the overnight low. Here's your weekend. It's kind of a strange forecast on Saturday. Mostly sunny, chance of snow. That's what it is. We're going to go with the sunshine because we're optimists around here. Slight chance of some light snow on Saturday night. Again, any snow we get is not going to be sticking around. Maybe a half an inch. That's really about it. Nothing we can't handle. Mostly cloudy Sunday and a high near 31. Yesterday's high was 32. Normally it would be 43. Wednesday's low was 11. Normally it would be about 29, as I mentioned at the top of the hour. Every high temperature from February 1st to yesterday has been either below normal or well below normal. We are in a long, cold snap. So that's your forecast. At 6 minutes after the hour from the National Weather Service, to the passes we go. From the Washington State Department of Transportation, you are looking live at I-90. No advisories, no restrictions. The roadway is bare and wet. Traction tires are advised on Stevens. As you look at Stevens here coming up, you'll notice there's quite a bit of snow on the surface of Stevens Pass. That's why they have a traction tire advisory on US 2. Where does Stevens Pass go? Apparently, there's Blewett. Blewett's fine, by the way. No advisories, no restrictions. Roadway is bare and wet. There's Stevens. That's what I'm talking about. You got some compact snow and ice at the very summit of Stevens. The last 5-6 miles as you're heading up over the pass, and then 5 or 6 miles on the other side of the pass is where you're going to find the snow. Traction tires are advised there. No snow at all in the forecast today for the mountain passes. No snow tonight. Now, Friday, things are going to change. 3 to 7 inches of snow possible on Friday. Couple of inches on Friday night. Couple of inches possible on Saturday. Couple of inches possible on Saturday night, and then they dry out as well. So the major snow accumulation is going to be Friday into Friday night in the major mountain passes. No advisories or restrictions on Blewett, nor on I-90. Traction tires are advised on Stevens, but if you give it a couple of hours, Stevens should be just fine. The plows will get out there and take care of whatever that snow is on the roadway, and you'll be down the road 7 minutes after the hour. Going to take a break. When we come back, it's your Thursday morning news. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley live this morning from Studio 9 in downtown Wenatchee on the NCW Life channel.
Hello, my name is Nathan Schreiber. I'm a physician here at CVCH. My specialty is family medicine, which is a pretty general specialty where I get to treat all walks of life. You know, newborns, children, women, adults, elderly, everything in between. I have additional training in osteopathic manipulative treatment, OMT for short, where I use my hands to diagnose and treat musculoskeletal conditions which are causing pain and inflammation. I look forward to meeting you and being a part of your healthcare.
Hey everyone, did you know that the NCW Life channel is North Central Washington's go-to source for news? No matter how you prefer to view your news, NCW Life has you covered. Watch the evening news weeknights on TV, stream it, read it at ncwlife.com, or catch the latest news by following us on Facebook. Stay informed with local news, sports, weather, and shows featuring local people and events. NCW Life, a reflection and a spotlight of the communities we call home.
Welcome back. 8 minutes after the hour, partly cloudy skies, 24 degrees outside of our studios. Quite a bit of sunshine today. High just a little bit above freezing. We'll alternate between clouds and sun pretty much every other day right into the weekend. Here's what's making headlines. 2 men stuck in deep snow for a couple of days were rescued Tuesday in a remote area of Douglas County. Douglas County Sheriff Kevin Morris says deputies responded to a report of 2 adult males stuck at the intersection of Road 5 Southwest and Road A Southwest, which are primitive, unplowed roads. With the assistance of Fire District 5 and Fire District 1, 2 males rescued by snowmobile. 1 subject transported to Central Washington Hospital for evaluation. After rescuing the 2 males from the car, responders learned that a 3rd adult male was on foot attempting to walk out. Responders located and rescued the 3rd person about 1.5 miles from the truck. It's believed that none of those involved sustained any kind of significant injuries. The names of those involved have not been released. Have you seen this guy? Take a close look. If you have, and you know who he is, the Chelan County Sheriff's Office would like to hear from you. He's being sought as a suspect in a string of bank ATM thefts, including the Wenatchee branch of Cashmere Valley Bank. That's where that image, by the way, was captured on their surveillance camera. Sheriff's officials suspect the man has made off with over $10,000 in cash withdrawals. The bank also shared a photo of the suspect's vehicle. There it is, described as a silver Volkswagen Passat. If you have any information on this gentleman, who's not really a gentleman, please contact the Chelan County Sheriff's Office. Well, Dr. Paul Gordon, the superintendent of the Glen Ellen School District in Illinois, is the third and final candidate for the Wenatchee School District superintendent job. Gordon has been superintendent of the Illinois district since 2013. Prior to that, he was the chief academic officer for the Adams 12 5-star district in Colorado. Is going to be a public forum for Gordon later on today. Wednesday, the public and the school board met with that gentleman, finalist Sean Woodward. Of course, on Tuesday, they met with Michael Musick. Those are the three finalists. So today's meetings follow the same schedule as the other two. There'll be a public forum at the Wenatchee High School Commons from 3:30 to 5:30. Then the board will meet with the candidate tonight from 6:30 to 8:30 at the Spring Hill Suites conference room. The person hired, of course, will replace Brian Flonis, who will be retiring at the end of this school year after 19 years in the job of superintendent. Well, right behind traffic congestion, parking, one of the biggest issues in Leavenworth for both locals and visitors. So the city has launched a pilot program allowing people to purchase reserved parking spaces in 2 city lots. Since they started this program back on January 28th, Leavenworth has sold 26 of the 45 spaces available. The city's finance director, Chantel Steiner, says of all those that are sold, 25 are purchased by one party, and one or two more purchases are pending, intended primary for employers and employees. There are 5 permits still available on the lot on Front and Division Streets and 14 at the lot next to City Hall in Leavenworth. And finally, on this Thursday morning, the Wenatchee Valley Humane Society is holding a low-cost spay and neuter clinic for cats this Saturday at the Wenatchee Community Center. Our very own Megan McPherson has more.
Hey, Megan here with the NCW Life Channel. We are here with Renee Parkins, the Development Officer of the Wenatchee Valley Humane Society. Renee, what do you guys have going on this weekend?
So this weekend is our low-cost spay and neuter clinic. It's one of our quarterlies, and it's always a great time for people that are income qualified to come down and get their cats spay or neutered.
And how do you know if you're income qualified?
What you can do is call our front desk. Our team will get you set up. It is by appointment only, so you do need to call them anyway to get set up, even if you know that you'll meet the qualifications. Right now, our females are slots are full, but we are still taking males. So if you have a male cat or a male community cat that you're looking to get neutered, just give us a call. We can get you help out with that.
Okay, and what time is it at?
Check-in, I believe, is at 7:30 or 8, but they'll run through the slots that we have available for appointments when you call. So it's 662-9577.
The clinic is happening this Saturday, February 23rd at the Wenatchee Community Center. Megan McPherson, NCW Life News.
Thank you very much, Megan. You'll be hearing from Megan in just a little bit when we do Kennel Cameos towards the bottom of the hour. The news with Grant Olson comes your way at 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and 10 o'clock. Your chance to get all caught up on what happened on this Thursday. We're very proud of the program. The news with Grant Olson, sports with our beloved Eric Granstrom. You can watch it on TV at 5, 6, and 10. You can watch it on demand on our website at about 4:30 or so in the afternoon. We also post a link to the newscast on our Facebook page. And you can use our website, and you can use our Facebook page, and you can use our Twitter handle, and you can use our email address, and you can even use a telephone to get a hold of us. All the ways for you to get a hold of us here at the NCW Life Channel is at the bottom of your screen. It's 13 minutes after the hour. Wenatchee Wild's regular season came to an end last night with a victory over their rivals. The Penticton V's will have highlights. Also, we'll preview state basketball. The regional round gets going this weekend. It's all coming up. You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on the NCW Life Channel.
I'm working today.
I have got some work to do today.
Don't forget, I've got some work for you today.
Have a good first day at work, Mom.
Thanks.
Your donations to Goodwill fund job training programs right in our community.
New beginnings feel great, don't they?
Yes, they do.
Be a job creator. Goodwill. There's more behind the store.
I'm Jenny Rojanasatian, and this is Guada TV. Every week we will be bringing you a first look at North Central Washington business, tech, and education news. You'll hear from local influencers and innovators who live right here in the Valley. Together we'll discuss hot topics, current events, and resources that can support your business, our schools, and this community. Join me every week, and let's get inspired.
Welcome back. Quarter after the hour on this Thursday edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. List 2 Sports. Wenatchee Wild finished their regular season last night. Nice victory, 3-1. They beat the V's, the Penticton V's, up there at the South Okanagan Event Center. Scoreless first period, and then Brian Adams, no, not that guy. He got the offense going in the 9th minute with his 11th goal of the season. The Wild pushed their lead to 2-0 with a goal at the 11:52 mark of the second period. The V's cut the lead in half. And then the two teams have battled it out from there on. Austin Park shutting the door in net. Josh Arnold getting an empty netter at the end of the game. The final was 3-1. Art Checker with the call on the Wenatchee Wild Hockey Network video, courtesy of Hockey TV.
Back across, broken up, and Souter will take off. He and Barger was a 2-on-1. Now a trailer. Adams shoots. He scores! Brian Adams rockets the shot high on the blocker's side. Wenatchee draws first blood. They lead it 1-0. Lucas Souter set him up as he was the trailer. It was starting to be a 2-on-1, maybe a 2-on-2, as Pochapinski was coming back on the back check, but Souter spotted Adams, and Adams rockets the shot high blocker's side. Angles it off the wall for Adams. He's got Barger driving to the net. Adams finds a trailer and Fletcher. Left side shot, score! And again, the trailer on the zone entry picks up the pass. Last time it was Adams who caught the pass and made the shot. And this time, he's the one that sets it up. Time of the goal, 11:52. And the Wild now lead it 2-0. Slashes, they're inadvertent, but they happen. There's David Cilia, his shot, and he's in. Well, it took all of 8 seconds. And I don't know if that was tipped or if it went off of Park's glove. Sandelin leading the parade, so he may have got a tip right there on the doorstep. Picked up by Sandelin, up high to Smart. Smart throws it through, and then swatting it away, or attempting to, was Modry. Wild pick it up, and they'll dish it out through center. Gashevsky works it ahead, and now with an empty net, here comes Arnold. He'll shoot, and he'll score. Stratton comes along, and as the puck's played by the V's, they'll work it ahead through center. Poke checked away. Horn sounds, and that's the end of this one. So the Wenatchee Wild end up winning 4 of the 6 games, 4-1-1 overall this season against Penticton.
Wenatchee finishes the regular season with a 32-22-4 record. That's 70 points, good enough for third in the BCHL's Interior Division. Penticton and Merritt tied for the division lead. Both teams have 2 games to go. For the Wild, they're done with the regular season. They'll start the first round of the playoffs at home a week from Saturday. Well, this year's Wenatchee Panther boys basketball team battling a dubious history when it comes to the state tournament. The last time Wenatchee made state was 4 years ago when they lost both games in Tacoma and dropped out. Historically speaking, the Wenatchee boys basketball team has played 43 games at the state tournament dating back to 1925. Overall record 13-30 with 4 trophies, 2 7th place finishes and 2 6th place finishes. In their 43 state games, Wenatchee has been outscored on an average of 37-31. Of course, that includes 7 games in the 1920s and 30s when the Panthers scored 15 points or less, including a 12-10 loss to Wilbur back in 1930. In modern times, Panthers have been to state a total of 3 times since 1986. Last time was in 2014. The last time Wenatchee played a regional game was in 2016 when they lost by 2 to Gonzaga Prep. Travis Williams was in his 2nd year as head coach of the Panthers 3 years ago. He's now in his 5th season, and we're going to sit down with Coach to talk about this year's team, their history, and what he's learned as the Panthers prepare to take on Mount Rainier Saturday for a chance to return to state. You can watch that interview tonight on the Evening News with our very own Eric Ranstrom, right here on the NCW Life Channel. Speaking of state, here you go. We'll take another look at the regional basketball schedule for the local teams tomorrow and Saturday. Begins tomorrow night. Wenatchee High School Cashmere girls will take on Elma at 6. That'll be followed by the Antioch girls at 8 o'clock. The Panther boys play Mount Rainier Saturday at 4 o'clock. That'll be at Ellensburg High School. The Cashmere boys will take on Zilla, at Davis. That's Saturday at 6. Closer to home at Eastmont High School, it is a doubleheader for Brewster. The 6 o'clock game, the Brewster and Toutle Lake boys, and the 8 o'clock game, the Brewster and Mabton girls. Eric Granstrom's going to be at Wenatchee High School tomorrow night. He'll be in Ellensburg and Yakima Saturday, covering all the action. He's going to be providing score updates on our Facebook page. So Eric's going to be a busy guy. He'll be in Ellisburg and Yakima over the weekend on Saturday. Bring me back a burger from Miners, will you, Eric? Just keep it warm under your armpit. I'll eat it. 20 minutes after the hour, those are just some of the games that people are playing. We don't have an obscure holiday of the day today because, quite frankly, of all the research I did, I couldn't find anything that I thought was interesting. So we'll just move right along to today in history. Happy birthday to the telephone directory. The very first telephone book was issued on this date in New Haven, Connecticut, 141 years ago. And yes, I have some fun facts about the phone book. The United States Supreme Court back in 1991 ruled that telephone companies cannot copyright the telephone listings because copyright protects creativity and not just the labor of gathering phone numbers. So you can't copyright a phone book. I didn't know that. And we need to get rid of these things. I haven't used a phone book in I don't know how long. They just need to go away. A lot of North American cities simply passed ordinances saying you can't distribute phone books anymore. What did the phone companies do? They went to court and won so they could continue to throw the telephone directory on your porch. We just need to get rid of them. 1,400,000 metric tons of greenhouse gases is what it takes to make phone books every year. That's too much. The phone book's 141 years old. Hopefully it won't turn 142. Happy birthday to the Washington Monument, February 21st, 1885. The Washington Monument was dedicated. They started building the Washington Monument in 1848, and then in 1854 they stopped for three reasons. Number one, they ran out of money, and then there was some fussing and some fighting and some feuding on who actually gets to run and own the Washington Monument. And finally, we had that whole Civil War thing you may have heard about. So in 1878, they went back to work. They ended up building the darn thing. And for 5 years, from 1884 to 1889, the Washington Monument was the tallest structure in the world until the Eiffel Tower came along. Happy birthday to the Washington Monument. And finally, 47 years ago today, February 21st, 1972, nobody ever thought this would happen. President Richard Nixon visited the People's Republic of China, consistently ranked by, we don't think about it today. I mean, presidents travel all over the world all the time, but historians, scholars, journalists say this was absolutely one of the most important, if not the single most important visit by a U.S. president overseas in this country's history. As Nixon said, you might as well talk to China. It doesn't do us any good to ignore them. They're not going anywhere. Finally, we got some birthdays for you on this February 21st. That's David Geffen. He's 76 years old today. He founded DreamWorks and Geffen Records. He got his start in the music industry in 1970. His client was Jackson Browne, and nobody would sign Jackson Browne. He couldn't get Jackson Browne a label deal, so he created his own label. That's how you go about doing that. And eventually he would sign the Eagles and Joni Mitchell and Bob Dylan and Tom Waits and Linda Ronstadt and Warren Zevon. And now he's into making movies. David Geffen is 76 years old today. Anthony Davis is 73. Anthony Davis plays C-3PO in the Star Wars films. He is the only actor to have appeared in every Star Wars film, every one of them. He's the only one. And here's a fun fact. Kenny Baker, he was the guy who played R2-D2, so they were the sidekicks. They know the two of them together, C-3PO and R2-D2. Kenny Baker said in an interview before he died a couple of years ago, he and Anthony Daniels didn't like each other. They just didn't like each other, but they were good on screen. And finally, celebrating her 40th birthday today, Jennifer Love Hewitt. I don't much care for her work. I don't care what she did last summer, but it gave me an excuse to throw a picture up on my television program 24 minutes after the hour. It's time for Kennel Cameos. Let's see if we can get Leo the dog home. Kennel Cameos on the NCW Live channel.
Hey guys, Megan here with the NCW Life channel. We are here with Jenny, the volunteer coordinator at the Wenatchee Valley Humane Society, and joining us this week is Leo. Can you tell us about Leo?
Yes, Leo's about 7 years old. He's a Chihuahua mix. He's a friendly little guy. From what we can tell here at the shelter, he seems social with other animals. However, I think he's probably wanting to have a nice, relaxing home where he can just chill with somebody, and he enjoys walks. He loves to be outside, even in the cold. Yeah, that's kind of all we really know about Leo, but he's very sweet.
Yeah. And if someone wants to adopt Leo, what should they do?
They should come on down here to the shelter and meet Leo first and see if it's the right fit, and then they can fill out an application and adopt him, and he's ready to go.
Do you have something to say, Leo?
you call.
The Wenatchee Valley Humane Society is located at 1474 South Wenatchee Avenue and is open Monday through Friday from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m. and Saturday and Sunday from 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. Give them a call at 509-662-9577 or visit their website at wenatcheehumane.org. Kennel Cameos is supported in part by Rocky Mountain Chocolate Factory in Leavenworth. Not only does the Rocky Mountain Chocolate Factory have great house-made fudge and super delicious candy and caramel apples, but they also have great doggy treats for your four-legged friends, located at 636 Front Street in Leavenworth. This has been Kennel Cameos at the Wenatchee Valley Humane Society.
Hey, this is Mike Mad Dog Magnati, and everybody is entitled to my opinion. I've been commenting on clothes and how people dress lately, and I was reminded of that slang meaning of the term suit, as in he's just a suit. Now, that's just become a derogatory term for an authority figure. Now, when NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell proposed a new rule regarding personal fouls, former Seahawks cornerback Richard Sherman said it sounded like something like this was something that somebody who's never played the game would say. He's just a suit, Sherman said. And we all knew what Sherman meant, too. Now, maybe the saying that clothes make the man is taking on a new meaning. Huh? This is Mike Mad Dog Magnati, and that's my opinion.
And welcome back to Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. I am Dan Kuntz. Right before I went on vacation, the mayor of Chelan reached out to me, Mike Cooney, and said, hey, love to come down and talk about the big project that's really been the focus of the good people in the city of Chelan for the last, year and a half or so, and that's affordable housing. It has become an issue in the city of Chelan, but the folks in Chelan, the leadership, have decided to be proactive and do something about it. We first talked about this with Mayor Mike Cooney just about a year ago. We went up to visit Mike in his office, and we're kind of doing a follow-up and finding out where we are, and they're having a big open house on February 28th, so the folks up in Chelan can figure out where they're going and how they're going about doing it. And so, my guest today, to my immediate left, is the mayor of Chelan, no stranger to this program, Mike Cooney, and on the far left, making his debut, is Tim Hollingsworth, who is a city council member of the city of Chelan. He's also the president of the Chelan Valley Housing Trust, which is the topic of conversation. Welcome to the program, gentlemen.
Thank you, Dan.
It's good to see you again, Mike.
Good morning.
Yeah, thanks. And by the way, they came down specifically to do this interview, so right away you have to question their sanity. Thanks for going out of your way.
We heard there's some exciting things going on in Wenatchee, so we always want to be part of that.
Well, you came down.
No, we came here for this.
Yeah, I appreciate it. A little something about I know Mike. So Tim, we've never met before. A little something about Tim for our viewers. Give it a little background on who you are.
Well, I've lived in Chelan for almost 30 years, 28 years. I moved here in '91. I grew up back east in New England, in kind of a small town, northern New England and New Hampshire, and so when I moved to Chelan, the small town atmosphere really stuck with me. I had no intention of spending 30 years there when I was 30 years old, but here I am, and I have a small land surveying company. My background as a land surveyor, I think, kind of really piqued my interest when I started learning about the community land trust model, and I really felt like affordable housing was something I had perhaps a skill set that would lend itself to finding solutions and helping that problem.
How did you end up on the city council? Were you recruited by other people, or did you say I can make a difference and my hat's in the ring?
Yeah, that was pretty much it. Again, small town New England. It's kind of everybody has to do their part, and I'm not an activist particularly, but I just saw where maybe I could lend my skill set to it. Lived there long enough, and the incumbent had been there for a long time, and it's one of those things, well, let's see what happens. And for better or for worse, here I am.
Well, you've been in Chelan, you said, since '91, is that right?
Yeah.
So was it what's going on in Chelan, the tremendous growth in the Chelan Valley, was it something that kind of just sort of crept up on you, or one day did you get out of bed and say, what happened to Chelan from '91 to now?
Well, I think when I moved there, it has definitely changed a lot. I think one of the biggest changes was in the late '90s when the apple industry really took a hit, and we lost a lot of orchards, and the folks in the valley really pulled together. They came up with the wine industry thing and ran with it, and it's been great to see agriculture stay in the valley, and I think that's an important part of the economy. But obviously there's been a big transition to the tourist and the second home economy, and as a surveyor I've kind of ridden that. That's kind of my bread and butter. But I think it's important when you see those kind of big changes to evaluate, you know, what the community needs to really evaluate how it wants to define itself. And our community, the Chelan and Manson, the whole valley has always defined itself not as a tourist industry, but as just a rural farming community that happens to have one of the world's most beautiful lakes.
Yeah. That's nice to have,
yeah.
is it not?
Yeah.
Mike, last time, not last time I saw you, but we went up it was just about a year ago at this time. We took our cameras up to visit Mike and the crew up in Chelan, and you started to talk about your passion about affordable housing in your city came through rather rapidly on the air. There's no question about it. This is your number one priority from the time you were elected mayor almost, is that we want people to be able to affordably live in Chelan. That was a year ago. So walk me through what's going on the last 12 months,
Sure.
Mike.
Well, before we get much further, we have two of the founding. The third person is on Planning Commission. Her name is Rachel Goldie, and she could not make it because she is working on administrative items back home for our housing trust. So the three of us got together and we started talking about which would be the best model to follow. We looked at a lot of different models that people will do. You know what? It's even hard to start the conversation saying we're going to build affordable homes, because people will argue with you about what's affordable and why are you doing that for those people. And you know, as mayor, I just see our town diminishing on terms of the middle class. So the middle class has shrunk. It's we don't want to follow the same pattern that other tourist or ski towns have followed, that the people that work or the people that live there can't work there. We were joking off camera a little bit that we saw a lot of the workers coming up from Wenatchee on 97. We spoke to Pateros last week, and Pateros, it was kind of the same thing. There's a lot of people that live in Pateros, Wenatchee, and Entiat, and they work in Chelan. But they grew up in Chelan, so they can't get their first home. So it is a big passion. The numbers don't add up. The average median income per household is around $48,000, and the average median home price is about $450,000 plus. So we can't tell people in the middle class, lower middle class, to say work harder, take on another job, or jump higher, work harder, work longer. So what we're trying to do, Dan, is to build mostly single-family homes, and if we can get the land donated, and people are coming forward, we can talk about our first project in a bit. We'll build homes that are roughly 1,000 square feet and sell for roughly $250,000. So if we can get the land cost out of it, then we can build these single-family homes. And on the other, there's a wide spectrum of housing, so we're going after the lower middle to fit that. That's the largest segment that we need. 40% of our workforce commute, so we'd like to see them be able to live back in their town. I also hearken back to, I remember listening to my folks say that their first home, their first small 900 square foot Cape Cod style home was a dwelling, and it was not an investment.
Right.
So if we don't do anything, and people have been talking about this for 20 years, and people have told us that the market will take care of itself, we said, hooey on that, we're going to start doing something. We're going to start digging dirt next summer, and we're going to build our first homes affordably. We have everything lined up, Dan. It's really cool that people have come forward in the community to, we have North Cascades Bank giving interest-free $2 million building loans. We have affordable builders willing to do that. We have a very strong board. So these are things that have happened since I've last seen you. We have a 12-member board.
Yeah, I got their names right. You got some heavy hitters here.
We do.
You got Tim, you mentioned Rachel, you got Guy Evans from Caldwell Banker.
Right.
Clint Campbell is extremely well known in the Chelan area. All kinds of community leaders, good people.
Very good. I would, this is not a competition, but this board, pound for pound, is the best.
And there's also, we need to mention this, one of the reasons it's such a concern for Mayor Cooney is the trickle-down effect of all this. If you have the people who work in Chelan can't afford to live in Chelan, as you mentioned, they live in Antioch, Wenatchee Valley, or Pateros, and they drive into Chelan, they do their job, and then they leave again. The trickle-down effect is huge. Schools, for instance.
Hospital.
City. Yeah.
All the service industry.
Yeah.
So just being mayor, seeing people come in, interview for good jobs, good paying jobs, then they look around and they say, we're not moving here.
I can't afford to live here.
Can't afford to live here. So, and that happens at the hospital to a degree, and it happens at the school district. I think housing is the number one topic right now. I've been over to Olympia. I'm going to head over tomorrow and testify for a couple housing bills that would positively affect cities like Chelan. It's the number one subject right now in Olympia. Last session it was education. This year it seems to be housing.
Is Representative Steele on board? He's in your neighborhood.
And Representative Gaynor and Senator Hawkins, they have opened their ears and they like what we're doing. What we're doing, I think it's really cool. People like Tim and everybody else on the board, they're doing it selflessly. There's no self-interest. Mm-hmm. They're not getting anything out of it. They put a lot of time into it. And one of the biggest things, if we don't do it, then it falls on the city. And the city would start a housing department and hire a director. And it would be
and once
millions.
the bureaucracy is created,
Right.
you can't kill it.
Yeah. And we're not doing it with federal dollars. We're doing it, the city has chipped in $200,000 to help offset hookup fees and also administratively to get us going for our first 5 years. So there is buy-in from the city. There's a really good buy-in from our planning department to change zoning where it makes sense. And nobody needs to be fearful of what we're going to build. They will upgrade neighborhoods. These are going to be nice homes that'll last the test of time, and they'll be shining examples of what a community can do. But I do stress the word community. We are still in need of land donations, and we're still in need of capital donations. I think in a short time we've done pretty well. We have about 120 grand in the bank, and we are forming our 501(c)(3). Chelan Valley Hope has taken on being the pass-through for capital donations or land donations. We are in need of capital and we're in need of land. So at this point, I want to get on my knees.
You don't have to do that.
Okay.
There's a report that came out. It came out last month. You went to a professional consultant, which is always a good idea.
The city hired.
You brought in Julie Bruner, who put together this report. Everybody in the Chelan Valley, or even people outside the Chelan Valley, they need to read this.
It's great.
It's absolutely important. It's full of very
She's
useful
nationally
information.
known, and we were lucky to hook on with her.
If you haven't read this, just go to the City of Chelan's website. It's right there. You can't miss it. I pulled 3 graphics from that report that Julie put together, and I want to throw them up on screen, and I want Tim and Mike to address it. The first, that's the homeowner costs as a percent of income. Tell people exactly what they're looking at and what those 3 colors mean. Mike and Tim, who wants to tackle that? First of all, the Chelan area is represented by blue.
Right.
And then the Chelan County, as the entire county, is in red, and the state of Washington is in green. The last one, the last of that, the one on the far right, is the one that jumped out at me.
Right.
So that's a lot.
Yeah, just a huge proportion of our population spends almost half their income on housing.
And it's supposed to be about 30%, right?
30% is the maximum comfortable
Sure.
portion of your income that you can spend on housing, because that's your gross. That's not taxes. You take out groceries. You take out everything else you want to do, saving for your kids' education and all that stuff.
If it goes over 30, you're then deemed cost burdened.
Right, and this is, Chelan is 40, almost 45%.
Cost burden.
Yeah.
That's just, did you, when you saw that graph and you saw that number, you said, well, that's what I expected, or did you have a?
That's what we expected.
Yeah. We knew there was a problem. And having an objective consultant come in, give us an objective analysis of that, you really need to do that, because nobody wants to hear anecdotes. If you're trying to get serious donations, serious funding, serious people involved, you need objective numbers, and you need to have a serious plan to address it. And working with Ms. Brunner really gave us that. She's nationally recognized as an authority in affordable housing. She's done a lot of work. She's currently working with the city of Houston on a $100 million, similar to what we're doing, on a magnitude that's completely different. So she's been extremely valuable in helping us really define what we need to do, and helping us rally the talent and the resources that Mike in particular has been able to gather.
The graphic that we just showed was a pretty sobering graphic. I wanted to show another graphic that's actually something that made me smile. How long have you lived in the valley on the survey that was taken? And that's a nice thing to see, isn't it, Mayor? Once people come, they like to stay.
It is nice, yeah. I think Chelan has a certain cool factor of it. The neighborhoods are established. They're single-family homes for the most part. People have lived in their homes for generations. They've passed it on. There's a lot of walking into town. I think we are perfectly set up as a city. The center of commerce is in the middle of these older neighborhoods. What we don't want to see is people moving out because they can't afford to stay in there for property tax reasons or for whatever reason. People start tearing down some of these older homes and putting up McMansions. One of the things that we've done is important to mention, Dan, is that our Planning Commission, along with the council, has adopted a very stringent policy towards short-term rentals in existing neighborhoods. Since I've been mayor, there's only been one house that has turned over from a single-family residence and that is adjacent to other short-term rentals. So we're not saying short-term rentals are not available, but they just aren't in existing neighborhoods. We don't want a home that's selling for $300,000 become a short-term rental and then all of a sudden it becomes worth $400,000.
Right.
Those short-term rentals have a big impact on not only the cost of rent, but also on the cost of housing, because obviously people that are anticipating a lot of revenue from short-term rentals can afford to pay more for their second home. One of the statistics that came out of that report was the fact that almost more than a third of the houses in Chelan are they're part-time residents. They're people from away. Yep. A lot of those houses are vacant. You drive around this time of year, and it's amazing how many houses you see where the driveway's not plowed and the steps aren't shoveled. And those are, a lot of those may be subsidized with the vacation rental market. One of the things I want to stress is that the city has really taken a lead in pushing this movement forward. The city's doing a lot of things on a lot of different fronts to encourage diversity of housing. But it's the whole valley. And the Chelan Valley Housing Trust is really, we're looking to reach out to the county. I know they're working on their short-term rental ordinances, and I think that's going to be critical. Working on some of their other planning and zoning issues is going to be critical, and also just the Manson community. Last week we had a nice visit with the Manson Kiwanis at their Grange Hall, and we are really trying to reach out to the whole valley and make sure that even though we got our start in the city, and the city's taken a huge lead in this effort, we want to make sure we get that organic buy-in from the entire
Well, for
area.
one thing, in this, and Mike, you can address this, for the city proper, the city limits of Chelan, not a lot of buildable lots within your jurisdiction, so to speak, but when you get a little bit farther out, in and around, you move up and down the lake, especially on the north side of the lake. South side is very well developed, almost all the way to State Park and even beyond that. But on the north side of the lake, there's swaths of land that are available for these things to be done, right?
That is correct. There's a lot of buildable land still left in the valley. Within the city, I believe there are 1,400 buildable lots available, open for sale, or they're still in ownership. So some are for sale, some aren't. You know, one thing is that we have a zero vacancy rate. I think that tops the chart. I don't know if you can go any lower.
No, that's insane. Again, some of these numbers they just jump out of you. What do you hear from the big boys? By that I mean landowners, owners who have large swaths of land and they're sitting on it waiting to develop it and building McMansions, as you call them, and general contractors. What are you hearing from them as you go to them and say, you know, we need land and we need to build affordable houses or
So we've been pretty active on that, Dan. We've been for each development that comes in, we're not doing any inclusionary zoning, making certain percentage of it being affordable. So we're not mandating things. We're trying to do it by the carrot versus the stick, and we are trying to get people to donate a certain portion of their development for affordable. So, and it's getting some traction. So people are listening, and they're saying, I was over yesterday visiting with a bank in Seattle that owns a piece of property and trying to get a portion of that property donated to our housing trust so we can build affordable homes. And so each person that comes in the door, we visit with them and make the ask. And I think, you know, we're not hitting them over the head to do it, but they are responding. People are responding very well. The message still is getting out there, so by way of programs like this, we can get to more people and say, if we don't have the land, we're not going to get this done. Mm-hmm. And our land trust is not going to go out and buy land.
No.
So, and this is not charity. If we want to keep our town the way it is and the way the people that have moved there, they like Chelan for a certain reason. There's just a great feel to the town, and we want to keep it that way, and we don't want it to become hollowed out in the middle and have a whole bunch of people. And you know, we got started off, I have to admit, we got started off on the wrong foot on this. There's no blame for this issue. Mm-hmm. You know, it's not, you could blame the second homeowners all you want, or the people that are trying to make money on short-term rentals. We've stopped that, and we've tried to enlist them in helping us get to that. A big deal, if we could ever get to the west side people that visit our town, love eating at the restaurants downtown, shopping there. There is that factor of coming into a historic downtown. That is, last summer was the first time I saw closed signs.
That damn August smoke just.
Well, no, it was actually people people didn't have workers.
No, yeah. Oh, yeah.
They didn't have workers. I mean, so now
smoke didn't help either.
The smoke did not help.
No.
So this year we're going to put a big net and keep all the smoke in Wenatchee. So no.
We'll do it for you guys because we love Chelan. Tim, in your line of work, and we talked about this a little bit off camera. I'm sure there's people in the Chelan area, so just let the market be the market, you know, and this is really none of your business. Thank you very much, but let the developers and the landowners and the contractors just handle it, and the market will eventually. There's inherent dangers to that kind of thinking, is there not?
Well, I think you have to have policies that will encourage the market to fill the gaps, and to the extent that the city can and the county can. We can take steps, but I made the point before, this is one of the most beautiful places in the world. And Mike made the point, I mean, people love to come to Chelan. And it's just going to be an extremely popular place. We're just a few hours drive from one of the wealthiest cities in the country, I read now in the Seattle Times, and growing. So there's going to be this pressure on the market. And the only way the market's going to respond to that is by pushing our middle class to adjacent communities. So you're going to have people say, well, what's wrong about having your workforce commute from Pateros or Eniat? And
Mike talked about that.
You lose first off, you lose the character of the town. Second off, our businesses lose a stable, invested workforce. And it's not just the person that you're hiring full time. It's the seasonal workforce, because for a full-time worker that works at the hospital or works at the school district or the city, you also have the spouse that maybe is looking to fill in here and there, and you're looking at school-aged kids that are able to participate in the summer in the workforce. And so having those people invested, stable, you train them and then they stay here, rather than if you're in Pateros or you're in Eniat, I mean, why drive to Chelan when you get a better job down in Wenatchee?
Yeah.
You're going to jump ship. So there's incentives, and that's, when we were setting up the Chelan Valley Housing Trust, one of our goals is to really set it up so that businesses have a say and can get invested in that organization, because we really see it filling a need for our employers.
Go ahead, Mike.
Maybe just to tag on to that a little bit, if your middle class disappears, the kids from the middle class are not there to work at the drive-in, to come and work at a restaurant,
to rent out the jet skis, to all that good stuff. Yeah,
right. Can I make two quick?
Please. Oh, go ahead,
All right.
Mike. No.
So a little thing on this, some things to add on to why are we doing this? It's to keep our middle class intact. I've met with probably a dozen or so businesses that would like to move their business to Chelan. They love Chelan. They could work out of Chelan. They could bring a workforce and we're talking small.
Sure, I understand.
A dozen people or so. But they look around, there's no housing. So they're not bringing their business to Chelan. So this also would help us attract a third leg of our economy. We're strong on tourism, we're strong on ag, but those two are so weather dependent that we'd love to have a third leg of and I think that makes a lot of sense if we had some solid, clean light industry in our town. One other point that I'd like to make is that we're doing this for the people that are in the middle class, but if you go around, every single city has affordable housing means something different. And if you go on the west side, it means homelessness.
Yeah.
And a lot of the legislature action is dealt around homelessness. We do have homelessness in the Chelan Valley. It's not as prevalent as you would see it in other towns, just on the sheer size and scope of our town. But why not have affordable homes, and homes that, we like to say, homes that are affordable for people to buy. And I think that's pretty simple.
I got one more question for Mike, and then we're going to talk about the open house because we're running short on time. Devil's advocate here, you talk about you want to build 1,000 square foot homes, not palaces, just nice 1,000 square foot homes that can retail out for about $250,000. Has anybody said, why don't you just go up? Why don't you find a nice swath of land and build a 7-story apartment building like Riverside 9 in Wenatchee and just build apartments that people can afford to rent and live in, as opposed to houses?
Great question, and I'm glad I brought that question down for you to ask. Why do we? Single-family home is a really good equation for the housing trust. We really don't want to be landlords, and we are addressing, as a city, we're addressing people that want to come in and build a large or a couple large apartment multifamily. So that would be at market rate rents, with a certain percentage being affordable, by the way. So the land trust is focused more on single family homes, maybe some duplexes. So we're not set in stone, except that the home ownership is a really big thing.
Well, yeah, nobody takes pride in their apartment. They take pride in their homes. They plant their rose gardens.
They can paint it any color they want, and have a dog. And
well, you build equity in a home. You become invested. You're paying taxes, and it leads to a more stable, permanent part of the community. We don't discount the need for rental housing. But again, that's an area where we see maybe we can encourage the market to really bite into that maybe more than the single-family housing.
We just about got a couple minutes left, and I got to cut you loose. February 28th, their very first open house, the Chelan County Housing Trust. Tim, you're the president of the Chelan Valley Housing Trust. Tell me about February 28th. What do people need to do? What's it all about? All that good stuff.
Well, it's just like it says, it's an open house. We're really trying to encourage, we're trying to get the word out about, who we are, what we're offering folks, both potential homeowners as well as business folks, general members of the community. So it's a chance. We're 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the Manson Grange on February 28th. We're just going to have some information and light snacks, brochures, and then there'll be a bunch of our board members there to discuss topics. Then we're moving from 3 till 6 to the Chelan Chamber of Commerce. So we're both in Manson in the morning, Chelan in the afternoon, and then Mike has opened up the Vogue. We're going to have some live music and just a social kind of just come and enjoy and get to mingle in the evening. So it'll be a lot of fun.
Before we end, I'd like to say thank you to North Central Washington Life.
Oh, cool.
NCW Life.
Yeah.
I think a really great program. And
I loved it.
Thank you.
One last question. I'll leave the last word to the mayor. You're answerable to, as you mentioned before, there are 10,000 people about in the city of Chelan. You're answerable to every one of them. You're not representing certain realms of people. You represent everybody. That's the deal of mayor. What are your constituents telling you about this affordable housing initiative?
So,
what do you hear from the people in Chelan?
So there are 4,000 residents of Chelan and about 10,000 in the valley. And initially it was, why would you be doing that for those people? And now they're saying, when are the first homes available? And not necessarily, they're all on, we don't meet anybody now that has any blowback. It's just a thing to do. It's not charity. It's just the right thing to do and help people get into their first home. So we're doing that.
The word that he used the best, the phrase, the analogy, the metaphor, whatever you use, hollowed out at the core, and nobody wants to see that.
Nope,
nobody wants
not
to see
Chelan.
that. No way. Mike, Tim, thanks for coming down.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate it. You're in the big city, so I'm sure you'll enjoy the sights and sounds of Wenatchee while you're down here.
Oh yeah.
We love coming to Wenatchee.
And I love going to Chelan. Who's kidding who? You're watching Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. We'll be right back.
Hi, Justin here, owner of Club Crow Bar and Grill in Cashmere. Club Crow is your place for famous blues, brews, and barbecue. We are your one-stop bar and grill, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner 7 days a week. Looking for a fun night out? Join us at Club Crow Saturday nights. We have live bands to rock the night away. Club Crow is bringing comedy to Cashmere. Check out our Facebook page for upcoming dates. Live jam session first Sunday of every month. Club Crow Bar and Grill in Cashmere, the coolest place in town.
We're back live here from Studio 37 in downtown Wenatchee on this Thursday edition of Wake Up Wenatchee Valley. Thanks once again to our good friends from Chelan, the good mayor and Tim coming down and visiting us yesterday. We'll keep a very close eye on those developments. Clear skies for the most part, 21 degrees outside of our studios. Let's take a look at your weather forecast one more time. Beautiful day like that. Look at all that sunshine up there. That's what we're going to have for us today. A few clouds this morning, lots of sunshine this afternoon, high of about 33 degrees. High pressure is large and in charge. There are some storms out there, but they're kind of just taking their time and slowly working their way here to our ways. So nothing really happening tonight, just the clouds will be thickening up. Snow showers, maybe a half an inch, maybe. That's all we're going to get on Friday. It's going to be cloudy Friday morning. It's going to be sunny Friday afternoon. And a high of about 30. Friday night, again, a couple of spittles of snow is all we're looking at Friday night. Saturday, a little bit of light snow, maybe. Also quite a bit of sunshine Saturday as well. Sunday, it's going to be cloudy. And again, whatever snow we get over the next 72 hours or so is just not going to be strong enough to sit around. The one consistent that you see all the way across are those temperatures, all of them below normal. Everybody have yourself a great Thursday. We'll see you tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.